Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're making Provençal beef stew with olives and prunes. Here the pieces of meat are marinated first in herbs and red wine and then simmered for a long time until you reach this beautiful color. My choice of meat is going to be the chuck roast, and I have 3 pounds of this beautiful piece of chuck roast which has tons of marbling. There's some fat on it which we're gonna trim as much as we can, but leave some on. It's gonna intensify the flavor of your beef stew. Keep in mind that your pieces have to be fairly large since we're cooking it for a long time, and you want them to hold on to its shape. So we're gonna cut the long strips from your chuck roast, and each strip is gonna cut into pieces about 1.5 inches big, and we're gonna transfer all these pieces into a large mixing bowl. Let's make the marinade. And here comes 1 large navel orange. And we're gonna use the vegetable peeler to take the zest of this orange. So just the zest, not the white part. And we're gonna do it in long strips like that because after it's been marinated, all these pieces need to be taken out. And it's easier to do it this way rather than use the zester. Then we will need 4 cloves of garlic. If you're a garlic lover and you like garlicky things, you can add more. But to my taste, I think 4 cloves is enough. So just smash them with the knife and then remove the peel. And we are going to slice that garlic into our marinade. Then we will need 2 cups of red wine, and I like to use the Blanch because it gives you a variety of flavors. And if you don't use the Blanch, you can use any of these wines listed, but preferably Merlot or Cab. When it comes to the herb selection, we need couple sprigs each of rosemary, sage, and parsley. Just add it there. Also, coriander seeds, just 1/2 teaspoon, 2 bay leaves, some black peppercorns, and couple allspice berries. Add it all to your marinade. Then put your gloves on. We're just gonna massage the meat and make sure it's all in there in that marinade. And we will need 1/2 cup of olive oil, and I will explain to you why. Just pour it on top. Olive oil keeps the meat from drying out because you can see some of the pieces are partially exposed. And then cover your bowl and marinate at least for 24 hours in the refrigerator. Next day or in a couple of days, we can start making the stew. We will need 1/2 pound, which is about 8 to 10 slices of bacon. You can choose any one you like. I'm going to use the applewood smoked one. We're going to need to cut this bacon into squares, into small squares. Of course, bacon is easier to cut when it's slightly frozen. I did do that, but then I left it on the counter and it got all defrosted, but it's okay. We could still cut it if you have a sharp knife. We're gonna transfer these bacon pieces into a small saucepan and pour some cold water over it just to cover. Bring it to a boil and blanch it for about 5 to 7 minutes. Blanching of the bacon removes the excess fat and salt. After blanching, your bacon is going to look like this. We're going to drain it. We're going to discard all that water, believe it or not, because that's where all the impurities kept from the bacon. And rinse it very well and drain it and keep it aside for now. Besides bacon, we're going to need 2 large carrots, and we're going to peel them first. I love this peeler, guys, and Just looked in my products to see where you get that peeler. Look how thin it peels the carrots. And of course, we're gonna cut it into big chunks like this and on the bias. You could use some tricolor carrots or even the carrot sticks for this stew. And of course, what stew is made without the onion? We need one large onion, and I'm using the yellow onion. You could use the white. Red is not very recommended, but we're just gonna cut it half moon and set it aside. Also, about half a pound or so of mushrooms of your choice. I'm using white mushrooms, and we're gonna clean them with a damp towel. It's just easier to do it this way than just use the brush. This way you have to wash the brush after that. This towel does the job perfectly. And then we're going to slice these mushrooms relatively thick like that. For Roma tomatoes, I prefer to use Roma. You could use any type of tomatoes you like. We're just going to peel them by adding some hot water to the tomatoes and then covering them. Just leave them for a couple minutes, and you see how easy it is to peel the tomatoes like that. Don't forget to remove the core as well and slice into circles. But if you don't like big chunks of tomatoes in your stew, you can slice them a little bit finer. We also will need half a cup of black olives. I chose these dry cured ones, and they came unpitted, so I had to pit them. And also when I tried them, they were quite salty, and pitting them was just such a mess. I decided not to use as much as half a cup. So my advice to you, use just the regular black olives or Kalamata olives. I marinated this beef for 24 hours, so let's take a look at it. We're gonna lay a paper towel onto a tray because we need to transfer all these pieces onto a paper towel. And then we need to strain the liquid that was left in that bowl, because we are going to use the liquid in our stew, and we're also going to use the flavorings in our stew. So first, let's drain the liquid. You will have about 1 cup of liquid left from the 2 cups we added previously. Then we're gonna take the cheesecloth, just lay it in a bowl like this, transfer all your flavorings in there. We're gonna tie it with a string because this is gonna go into our stew to continue delivering the flavor to it. Here's our marinade. It's about 1 cup. We're going to add the beef broth to it. I'm going to add 3 cups of beef broth because I'm using a larger pot, and I also using the 3 pounds of beef. But you could use less than that. It depends of how liquidy you like your stews, because sometimes it could be eaten as a soup. Now it's all about assembling the dish. I have a 7-quart Dutch oven. I'm gonna put that blanched bacon on the bottom. Then we're gonna lay out our beef pieces on top of it. At this point, you can add salt and pepper. I have about a teaspoon of each. Don't go crazy with it because we can always adjust the seasoning later. We can also add a little bit more garlic. I like this one. It's called the elephant garlic. The cloves are humongous, just like this big. So you only need 1. And you can mince it or you can just slice it in there. It's going to cook for a long time, so it might as well be big slices. And also we're going to add our onion right on top of that. Let's add some carrots, shall we? And also mushrooms. Season it lightly again, this time only half a teaspoon of salt and some freshly ground black pepper. Then we're gonna add our olives. I forgot to mention the prunes because with all this sourness that we have in our stew, we need some sweetness, and that we can get from adding the prunes. Then load the tomatoes. You could spread them around a little bit. You can add fresh thyme by just simply removing the leaves from the stems. Add your spice pouch and kind of squeeze it in there. Then pour your liquid. It should not be to the top, but rather 3/4 of a way. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Place your pot in the middle of the rack and cook it for 4 hours. Then remove the pot from the oven, open the lid, et voila! You have a complete dish. Remove your spice pack. Then take a large spoon. We're gonna mix everything together so all our ingredients are evenly distributed throughout the stew, and just see how tender this beef is. It practically melts in your mouth, and the color of the stew is divine. It's better than it's served with just a bread, a rustic artisan bread like that. You could check it on my channel in the section breads on how to make this no knead overnight bread. It's delicious. And as far as the taste of this dish, I can't even describe it. You have to try it for yourself. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel so I can catch you later. Thank you so much. Bye.